Well, I'm going to give you a short intro presentation, and then we're going to bring a panel together, discuss the idea that we're putting forward from the AOP, look at some of the work that we've been doing. Some of that that's been revealed in the convention already over the last 2 days. And then we're going to sort of put a question to ourselves, and we're going to try and answer that with some experts. So we're here because, look, especially over the last 2 days, but also throughout the year, we've seen lots of things that are happening in premium publishing that are improving the product actually all round. But we're going to specifically go into the ad product today. So we'll look at some of those initiatives. And there's the goal for today, but also ongoing, is for advertisers, agencies, and publishers to work more closely together. So what can we do about that? Why should it happen, for that matter? So, but I just wanted to since we've been working on this convention, some interesting stuff has happened. What's the context for publishers? Innovate or, let's not say the word, right? There's a double-edged opportunity at the moment. This has kind of been coming through really strongly over the last 2 days, which is that if you aren't going to take that opportunity, then life is going to be quite hard. But the good news is, and there is good news, mostly, in fact, good news. There's a huge need for trusted content brands. We had Professor Nick Newman from the Reuters Institute at Oxford showing us really deep data on that yesterday morning. We had Christian Broughton, editor of The Independent, actually explaining that there is Nick had made the point of finding scarcity as a brand, but actually there's scarcity in the broad spaces. So we have examples from The Telegraph, The Guardian, The Independent that have grown massively in the US because there is a scarcity of the kind of balanced news that they offer there as well. So that is actually a chance to grow. But there's also, we've had examples from Future and from Dennis and more that actually show that actually in the niche areas there's great growth to be had as well. So there's plenty of reason to be optimism in terms of building that audience. And actually it's about that fundamental thing that publishers have always done, which is building trust and a true audience connection. There's nothing different, it's just a different landscape out there. Part of that landscape are the platforms that are out there. If you embrace them, you can build big audience growth. Of course, you have to embrace them, not unquestioningly, with the right methods, but there's great opportunity there. But the thing that was really, the other thing that's really come through strongly is that it's a really hyper-competitive world, and publishers are diversifying their revenue streams. There are many more tools to create revenue streams now, and they're now in this situation of having to manage this sort of complex set of revenue streams to really generate value and benefit. But actually, there's a great opportunity there for the people that embrace that market. So feel good about being a premium publisher. Excuse me. So advertising is still, there are some different examples, but the main revenue stream. And it's not going to go away. We've had some people suggesting that advertising is becoming less important, it's going to die, all these sort of things, not really true. So actually our members, and as we've seen, are working very hard to keep innovating in the ad space as well. Building new benefits and in the spaces of data and format and the experience and the results and the viewability and all of those things. And actually, and you see that, we see that as they do that, they're selling their offer really effectively into the market. But maybe what isn't being done very much is selling the idea of premium content creators and the benefit that they offer. And there's work to be done there. And so part of that work is going to be done by the AOP. So here we are. But why should advertisers work more closely with us, and why do we want to work more closely with them? Okay, well, this is, let's say, a story we've articulated in the data piece that we've done so far. There's an imbalance in the ecosystem at the moment. A few very influential players, and it's not good for the market in general. The buy side tells us this quite clearly. But it's driven by data and the ability for those big players to go to a client and say, I can tell you something about your customers that you didn't know. And not only that, I can connect to them all with precision as people rather than cookies. And then once we've done this massive campaign with you and spent a huge amount of your marketing budget, we can also attribute and show you the ROI. And that's what clients need. So, and we've seen some interesting ways that premium publishers can come together to start to combat that and to start to offer similar benefits. I'm not going to go into the detail of it, but this is part of the discussion that we've had in the data space. So, but if our members start to come together, as they are increasingly, there's much scale to be had. There's at least 43 million reach across our member publishers, mass market activities in there, but many niche as well. And actually the interesting thing is that when you start to look actually across this set of publishers, pretty much every interest, personal and professional, is covered. And all the things that you do that are fun as well as important to you. And in there is the chance to know an insight level about specific product interests and categories, and to start to get into something that becomes really very interesting to a certain type of client, let it be an automotive client, a tech client, whoever it might be. And we also have started to discover that along the way, if you put these things together, there's also technology that allows these things to come together well, and that the attribution piece starts to come in there. And the final thing to say there is that there are attribution models that go beyond the last click, and the further you look back, in the short is the more beneficial it looks for premium publishers, because you're building that brand interest and that pool of prospective customers for a client. So there's something really interesting going on there, and so. If we look at it as well, if we're talking about how we sell the premium publisher offer and start to make it something that is, well, let's say more lucrative, the member data and environment that premium publishers offer is actually it's unique, it's safe, and this way of explaining it is to say, okay, our members provide an environment where audiences access trustworthy news from trained professionals of integrity, follow their special interests from cycling to music and from travel to cars, educate themselves personally and professionally, make important purchases and lifestyle decisions, because yes, e-commerce is also going on our member platforms. It's the go-to place where many millions of people support, explore and develop their passions, professions and purposes. That's something that is different to the other platforms that are out there. It's true of premium publishing, but it's not necessarily been expressed to the market yet. So we want to make some effort around that. But just going back to that data point, just to sort of put some specifics in, we're seeing that actually across many of our members, well, I guess we were seeing some of this last year, that data partnerships are beginning to occur. This has been with DAX, ESI, Time, Telegraph, Dennis, Haymarket, many more, coming together to create partnerships that they bring to the market and offer clients benefits that they otherwise wouldn't get. So a good example is with DAX, with an audio network, working with Haymarket, with auto intenders. We're able to, amongst a number of benefits, one of the key ones was they're able to say, okay, I can now target that auto intender there as he goes near or she goes near that car dealership and can drive into the point of sale. So it's interesting, good opportunity. There are also now more, let's say, there's more momentum towards publishers cooperating to bring something at a bigger scale together. So we're looking at how you can start to map from cookies to people, how you can start to put data together to deliver that insight, delivering it in real time for a campaign, and what the attribution might be for that. So there's I'm not going to go into the detail, there's much more coming there. There's a lot of pressure from the buy side to do this. And I think that publishers will come together very soon to make something happen in this space. The next thing, GDPR is coming, so publishers are going to be in control of the consent that comes from users. There's lots of risk associated with that, but there's also lots of opportunity about how that can work. The AOP's put a working group together on that. We're producing good practice guidelines. Please ask if you haven't gotten into that, because most of our members are pretty involved with that, and part of that is something we need to interact with agencies over, and that's another effort that's going to be coming soon. The other reason is that actually the ecosystem is crowded at the moment. There's lots of channels to connect publishers to to advertisers, but that is going to change. It's not going to have such a crowded ecosystem. It's going to rationalise. We're going to naturally come closer to each other. And for those of you who were here for the previous session, we are doing some in-depth work on quality. That's what the market demands. That's what we're offering. There's an AOP ad charter. We're developing that in partnership with the buy side, with clients, and with the ecosystem leaders, and trying to lead standards. So can we be this kind of new kind of partner working with the buy side? Yes. As I was saying before, premium publishers are here to stay. There are some people that have got sort of various sort of doom stories to spread about premium publishing. It's not really the case. There's great opportunity out there. It's more competitive than it ever was, but it's still filled with opportunity. There's a data offering that's upgrading every day, understanding that the key starting point is about insight for clients. The ecosystem is bringing us closer together. We are working on standards. We think we represent the highest standards, and we are making sure that that's something that's going to be very clear to the market. And so we want to deliver it in partnership with the buy side and clients, and to help the ecosystem grow. So what I'd like to do now is invite some influential, clever people to the stage. Oh, hang on.